Daisy de Melker is probably South Africa's most famous murderer. Her notoriety may also be due to her iconic hairstyle. However, Daisy was not the first woman to be sentenced to death by hanging in Pretoria. Dorethea Kraft, later van der Merwe, lived on the Treurfontein farm in the Lichtenburg district in 1914. The divorced woman struggled to manage the farm and was grateful when the Jewish peddler, Louis Tumpowski, offered to manage the farm on her behalf. Tumpowski's lawyers drafted an agreement, allowing Louis to rent the farm for an annual fee of £25, but also with the option to eventually buy the farm. After a few years of living together as man and wife, Tumpowski informed Kraft that he wanted to exercise his right to buy the farm. Kraft realized with a shock that she hadn't properly read the contract before signing it, and that Louis could buy the farm for half of its then market value. Dorethea used her feminine wiles to try to get Louis to marry her, but Tumpowski was not interested. Angry and humiliated, Kraft turned to a local witch doctor to create a love potion that would convince Tumpowski to marry her. However, Louis proved immune to the potion, and Dorethea realized that she would have to consider other drastic measures. In 1918, a man named Hermanus Lambertus Swartz, a deserter from the army and Dorothea's daughter Polly's boyfriend, came up with a plan. Swartz proposed that Kraft should stop trying to use witchcraft to get rid of Tumpowski and simply kill him. He further suggested using the witch doctor, Jim Bird, to commit the murder. A reward of £100 convinced Bird to agree to kill Tumpowski. On the night of February 2, 1918, a violent thunderstorm raged over Treurfontein. Kraft, Swartz, Bird, and 3 farm workers gathered in the farmhouse's kitchen to carry out the murder. Swartz opened Tumpowski's bedroom door and forced Bird into the room. Bird attacked the sleeping Tumpowski with a knob carry and turned to leave, but Swartz repeatedly sent Bird back to attack Tumpowski again. Eventually, Kraft held Tumpowski's hands while Swartz strangled the Jew with a leather strap. Swartz then cut Tumpowski's throat. Dorothea asked Bird to hide Louis's blood for an extra £100 using his magic, but Jim Bird turned and fled. Kraft, Swartz, and the 3 farm workers then dragged the body out of the house and buried it near an ash pit. By daybreak, the thunderstorm had washed away all signs of the dragging and burying. Polly went to Johannesburg the next day, and Dorothea complained to the neighbors that Tumpowski had left and that she was afraid to stay alone on the farm. After a while, Kraft found a buyer for the farm. However, the buyer was aware of the contract between Kraft and Tumpowski and wanted to talk only with Louis about the purchase. Another neighbor, Michael Danilyuk, did not believe Kraft's story and eventually informed the local police of his suspicion of foul play. Danilyuk's niece also contacted Tumpowski's sister in Rhodesia at the time and informed her of Louise's disappearance. When the person who wanted to buy the farm also contacted the sister, she sent her husband to investigate and report the matter to the police. With the police's visit to Dorothea on the farm, she claimed that Louis had disappeared without paying the annual rent and probably fled because he also had other debts. The police were very suspicious, but could not charge Kraft as they did not have a body as evidence that Louis had been murdered. In July 1920, they began an intensive search on the farm for the body. With the help of a gang of prisoners, the police dug up the garden, drained the well, demolished walls, and lifted floorboards. This search lasted for 6 weeks without any success. As a last resort, a reward of £100 was offered for any information leading to the discovery of the body. During the investigation, the witch doctor Jim Bird came to the police's attention. During questioning in August 1920, Bird cracked and revealed everything. However, since he had left before the body was buried, he could not indicate where to dig for it. The police then made him part of the gang of prisoners who had to dig. A rainstorm on September 22, 1920, caused the ground over the grave to collapse, and Bird discovered the body. The body was quite decomposed, but Louis Tumpowski was identified by a signet ring and by the local cobbler from his boots. Dorethea Kraft, now van der Merwe, Swartz, and the 3 farm workers were immediately arrested on charges of murder. During the trial in Potchefstroom on June 13, 1921, Bird testified for the state in exchange for leniency. Dorethea Kraft and Swartz were sentenced to death, but the 3 farm workers were acquitted. The sentence was carried out in Pretoria in August 1921.